are the strategies for boosting employee management, and many more. Today, our session is handled by Dr. Eli Hamamuddin, who is the Program Director of the Business and Healthcare Management, Germeria University, UAE. He has more than 20 years of experience in all aspects of quality education and run a large scale of hotel quality management projects. He is a member of many professional societies like American Economic Association, Middle East Economic Association, Global Research Institute for Business Academics, and World Business Institute. So before we start, few points related to the webinar. We are glad to inform you that we will be providing the certificate of participation to all the participants who attend the webinar till the end. And in order not to disturb the course of the webinar, we request you to turn off your mic when the speaker presents, and all your queries can be posted in our QA box that is available in our Zoom webinar, and your questions will be discussed at the end of the section. So now, without any further delay, let me invite our panelist, Dr. Eli Hamamuddin, for the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Nair. It's with a pleasure being in this webinar. Today is 24th of March. We have a webinar about effectiveness in employees' performance. And I must say thank you for your introduction. It was a very insightful. It made me blushed. Very nice. In Dubai, I have been more than 17 or 19 years, and I have done many projects in Dubai, whether it's in a university or it's in industry, in the construction. One of my projects is very well known around the world. It's Dubai Frame. If you ever come to Dubai, this is the project that I have done in Dubai. Other than this, and we will move into our webinars, as Ms. Nair said. Effectiveness in employees' performance. Performance is the very important topic to discuss, and for every organization, everyone's after performance. And we will use the effectiveness of in employees' performance as a guide to really boost employees' morale, one of the very important aspects, and then as well as employees' engagement. So this is our main discussions of today's webinar. It is, look, employee is a human at the end of the day. We do have families, we do have a lot of issues, and sometimes we perform at work. Sometimes we are less performer at work. But how do management deal with it? We're not really dealing with an employee as an employee. We're dealing with the employee from a management point of view. How do management deal and cope with such an employee who goes through a different mood, different mindset, different cultures, and so on and so forth? And at the end of the day, create the best out of these employees and really perform the best out of the employees. So this is one of the things that we will be discussing. Effectiveness, being effective, and that's mean doing the right thing from the first time. This is a very, very important, being effective. That's mean doing the right thing. So not doing the right thing from 100 trial, doing the right thing from the first time. So this is a very, very important. And that's mean effective in employees' performance, taking the employees from the bottom and walk up to them into the ladders of performing in the organization. And that takes the organization up to the upper level, because at the end of the day, as a shareholders or as a stakeholders or as an investor, you open an organization, you open a company, and this company is opened by an entrepreneur. Basically, entrepreneur is, he is very gifted. He may not be the best in the subject matter, but he is the best how to bring resources together, whether it is financial resources, human resources, bring them together to an opportunity that he finds and create a company and create an organization. This is a very important, and this organization at the end of the day is going to be run by an individual who is like you and me. And these individuals, they need to first come up into a team. They need to create a team. They have to move from individuals into a team, into a group, and then they have to perform into departments. They have to move up the ladder, take the organization from one step to the next step. We are not employed because of our name. We are not employed because of who we are. We are employed because we are going to perform. And if we are going to perform, that means the person who keeps me in the company and who keeps me up to the ladder is my performance. So now my performance is really being monitored and evaluated, as well as developed as I go. So this is a very important subject to look at employees from a management point of view, and how do employees perform. And when I discuss this webinar with you, I don't discuss it with you as an employee. I discuss it with you as a future CEO. I discuss it with you as a future manager. I discuss it with you as a head of department, a future head of department, where you, me and you, and the rest of the panel and the rest of the webinar are looking for ways to better perform employees' performance and become more effective. When we become more effective, then the competitive advantage of your organization becomes unique. And when the competitive advantage of your organization becomes unique, this is where your company will not be able to be outperformed by another company. And that's mean you as a manager with the rest of the employees, you become very difficult to be replaced. And you sustain in your position in the company, and then you will have a name as a CEO, as a future manager, and so on and so forth. And that is the dimension where I'm coming from into this webinar. This is a very, very important. Now, looking at the company in a nutshell, from an entrepreneur point of view, from an owner point of view, from a shareholder point of view, and also being a future CEO, like most of everybody, I can see we have about 39, but we have 258 participants. That's a pleasure. That's an immense pleasure for me, being with a 259 participant. And that's the discussions of today, of how can we take us as a future CEO into the second level. The title of today's discussion is exactly to guide and to boost employees' moral. We will look into what do we mean by moral, employees' moral, and we try to understand the moral, and then we move to employees' engagement, to engage the employee, to make the employee and engage the employee within the company. So this is a very important. I just have to do a few housekeeping where I have to move myself from being, yes, this is where I can see myself better. And why moral and engagement is so important for an organization. That's today's discussion. And not only to the organization, to the success of the organization, because we are all employed for the success of organization. So we are all in a one boat, rifting the boat into the direction of the race. Mind you that to the parallel to us are many other speedboats are also doing the same, and we need to outperform everybody. with the employees. Employees' moral and engagement, they are very much directly impact on the productivity. Employees as an employee, when they walk into the organization, then when they wake up and they walk into the organization and they come into the organization, they are there to produce, to really become productive. And not only productive, to become perform, and then to really do the overall of well-being. We are a well-being people. We would like our employment to be very well-being. We would like to be saved, secure, mentally developed as we go. This is a very, very, very important to create a 360-degree circle around the employee from a benefit point of view, and to create a new home for the employee, and to make the employee really, when he comes to work, he comes with a joy. And that's what I do when I come from home in the morning. When I go to work, I go to my work with a joy. Why? Because I like my job, and because I have a management that really produce and make me productive. And when they make me productive, I become a performer. And then the success of the organization becomes better and better, which it's in turn affect the success of the organization from a management and from engagement, from moral, and so on and so forth. What are the reasons that really, and why are the reasons that really we are required to really increase and look at these things? We will see productivity. We will look into the productivity or increase of the productivity. For you, when you become a CEO and when you become a future manager, you sure will not accept the same productivity every day. You will be looking to increase the productivity of everybody's as you go, to develop them, to upgrade them, to look into your human resources, to see what you can do with your human resources and how you can develop your human resources to really produce more. So employees are very happy and engaged with the increase. They will result in increased productivity. And they tend to be more productive. You can see it from your own self, and you can see it when you really are happy, when you are really well taken care of, when people, they really greet you very well, respect you very well, you become more happy at work. When you become more happy at work, you produce more and you become more productive. And that would increase the productivity that you have. And beyond the required, this is a very, very important. To have a name in the market, you cannot always do what is required. Do what is required will probably keep you in that position for a period, for a very specific time. But to really excel and do better, you have to do more than required. And that is an objective for you as an employee, as a future CEO. This is very, very important. Where people, they take ownership, they take ownership of their work. Their work becomes, this is my work, this is my area, this is my space. I would like to perform better than anybody else. And this is a very, very important, and work collaboratively. You are, when you go to work, you go individual, but the minute you step into the organization, you step into a pool of employees and to a large continent of human resources, and that's where you need to collaborate. You need to come up with a collaborative effort, collaborate with your colleagues, collaborate with other departments, and also the result will be able to produce a high quality of work. This is a very important when you produce a high quality of work. High quality of work will never be produced by an individual. High quality of work will always be produced by a team, where the teams, they really fill in the gaps, okay? As an individual, I will not be able to do everything by myself. And that's where we create a team, we create departments, and these departments are ready for you, whether it is an operation department, whether it is an accounting department in finance, whether it is an engineering department, you need an employees in those departments. And when you have those employees, this is where they really work in a collaborative effort. And this is where organization becomes more success into the organization is very, very important. Secondly, we take to improve employees' retention. Retention is very, very important, to retain the employee within your organization. It's a high employee morale and engagement when the employee is morally fit and happy, confident. Really, he knows everything. He knows what is required. He knows the job very well. He may not know it 100%. I never knew my job 100%, but I know well enough to really work in my job and to really improve as I go. Because the population is getting bigger and bigger, the requirement of my job is getting more demand, and I learn as I go. So this is a very, very important into this. It can lead to morale and engagement, will lead into improved employees' retention rate from 50% into 75%, into 80%, and hopefully 90%. No one would be able to make it 100%. It's not easy to retain employee as 100% because employees, they get more mature at work, and they sometimes they relocate. Sometimes they move around the company, they move to a different sector, they have different requirement at life. So this is very important. They also, they feel very valued when they are morally and engaged, when they have high morals and they are engaged, they feel valued. People, they respect them, listen to them and to their opinions. When you become a CEO, when you become a future manager, employee is an asset. It's exactly like any other assets that you have in a company. This is a very, very important where you have to listen to the employee, because at the end of the day, he is the doer. He is the one who gives the product, your product, into the client, to the end user. If he is happy, the end user is happy. And when the end user is happy, the end user is going to be loyal to your organization, and the circle goes on. And this is a very, very important. Organization have a longer period for the employees. You don't wish to employ people for only 1 year or 2 years and then take them out, and then they have to leave, and then new employees will have to come in. And then again, you need to train them, you need to educate them, you need to train them into the company's culture. Every organization has its own culture. This is very, very important. You need to teach them into the process. What is the company's process? How to do things within this organization. You have to really, there is almost 3 to 4 months. This employee is doing nothing but learning the culture, learning the employee, the company's structure, how the company is structured, learning everybody's, getting to know his colleagues at work. All of it is a learning curve. before he really starts producing, where your competitor is performing faster than you. And you are busy educating the employees who are really revolving in your company. So that is why, as a CEO, as a future manager, as a future head of department, it's very important to retain your employees. It's very, very important. And that's with this, you will achieve a good high KPI in a faster period of time than taking you longer time to achieve your KPIs. This is a very, very important. And that's why employee is retention rate to have it very important for you to really increase the productivity. With this, takes me to the second subject, which is increase innovation. It is very, very important when employee innovate at work. With innovation, you will go to the second level. Engaging employee and motivating employees is really the responsibility of the future is you, the future manager, the CEO. Employee by his own, it takes him some time to be motivated. But you as a CEO, you as a manager, when you walk in, when you sit down with your employees or with the head of departments and motivate them, congratulate them for the work they have done, for the task that they have done or did, this creates a motivation. And when employees are motivated, they are more likely to create innovation, and they become innovative of their work because they really want to inspire you. They really want to please you. They really want to really look up to you and work for you as a CEO and as a manager. If the employee is not really becoming creative and motivational, that's something you need to look into yourself and say, what can I do in order to motivate my employees as a manager? This is a very, very important. And this is where the innovation comes in. And this is when employees are invested in their work, they do things correctly, they are congratulated, they are rewarded, they have a sense of ownership to the position, and then they become more to generate ideas and new ideas. And that's how you outperform your competitor. This is a very, very important. And that will be an approach that will lead to the improved process and also improve the product and improve the service that you are in. With this, it takes me to the customer service is a very, very important, as I said earlier. When employees are happy, then and also engaged, they are more likely to provide excellent service to the client. They will be more detail-oriented. They will be they will attend to the client quickly, faster. They will be really into details, and they really make the customer happy. And when the customer is happy, that's it. This is the name of the game. You have loyal customers, and the customer, they meet their expectation. And sometimes we make the customer to be beyond their expectation, and so on and so forth. And this will lead into a customer satisfaction. Satisfied a customer is a loyal customer at the end of the day. Unsatisfied customer, it will be an unloyal customers. If you look into the product that you produce, you have a factory, whether it's a 5,000 square meter, 10,000 square meters, or whatever it is, you have a factory. And you have about 200 to 300 to 500 employees in that factory to produce a product, whether it is a book, whether it's a phone, whether it's a oil and gas, whether it's whatever it is, the product. At the end of the day, there is an employee is going to hand it to the customer. And if that employee is not happy, that employee is not rewarded, that employee is not really within the framework of a happy employee, he will not be able to give it to the customer in a happy face. And then the customers, he is not going to be happy taking your product, even though your product is the best, but he may not be happy taking your product. And that's what will last in his mind. That really, I don't like it. The way he gave it to me, the way he looked at me, he was not really much happy. And that's why customer service is all, when they go with a smile, they go with happiness. We pick them smiley, we pick them very communicative. Why? Because they make customers, and they make the customer very happy. With this, we move into the overall of employees' moral and engagement are very important to the organization's success. This is a very, very important because they drive the productivity. The employees, they drive the productivity, and they become more retention in the company. We retain our employees into the company. And also we innovate the employees when we engage them, when we put them in a brainstorming session, when we have around the table discussion. This is where employee become very engaged. It's totally different to tell the employee, here you go, this is the plan, go ahead and execute, rather than putting the employee next to you and say, look, this is what we are thinking to do. This is what we are thinking to do. And from your own experience, what do you think? Do you think, is this going to work? Do you think this plan is really, it will fit? Do you think we can work around it? Give me your opinion. Can you review this document for me and really give me your opinion so we can really work it together? And this is where employee become very engaged, because he's going to review it. He's going to look at it. He's going to feel it. It's going to be part of his. You create ownership, and then he will really go to execute the plan with happiness. And he will overcome the challenges rather than coming back to you and say, excuse me, this plan doesn't work. It's not suitable. It's not even, we can't even do it. And he himself will come up with sticks and wheels because he was not engaged. And when he is not engaged, he is not going to sell it. He's not going to perform it. He is going to try, but he's not going to do his best. And that's where, for you as a CEO, for you as a head of department, to really engage your employees in the review of your document. Sometimes I take myself as an example. I take myself as an example. I perform better after work. When everybody's gone after 4 o'clock or after 3 o'clock or after 5 o'clock, they go home and I'm in my office. This is where I have the minute for myself. This is where I start reading documents, looking at documents, create a strategy, looking into strategy, and create objective, looking into KPIs. Did I meet? Did I not meet? This is where I look into what did I do? Did I do everything, on a daily basis? And that's exactly, if you look into my notebook, every day I write in the morning or I write in the afternoon, or the other day I write what I have to do. I make a small checklist for me, what I have to do, and I tick it as I go, and this is where I perform. So as I said, after work, I take a few minutes, 20 or 30 or 60 minutes by myself, and I create documents. But in my department, I have about 20 people. How can I sell this document to them? This is a very, very important. By engaging them the second day and say, hey, look, let's brainstorm. I don't have to show them the document. I say, let's brainstorm and let's see what we can do in order to reach our goal. I am prepared. I don't come to the meeting unprepared. I do my homework. I come prepared. And then slowly, slowly, the plan comes in. They become engaged. It becomes their plan. It becomes that they feel that if they have done it, okay, and they become innovative in executing the plan, and they really reach to satisfied customers, and so on and so forth. And this can only be done by engagement. That's all. And I'm very sure. I would like to hear from you when we finish in about 1 hour from now. I would like to hear from you. I would like to really hear your opinion. I know it is not back and forth during the webinar, but I would like to hear from you, from your experience. Does it really work when you engage the employees? So this is, for me, it gives me 100% result and gives me beyond my expectation, really, when I engage my employees. And when I look over the morale of the employee, where I bring his confidence up, where I really build his development up, and I really put a really roadmap for him to effectively work and to really develop his brain. I will give you a small example. A chat GPT came about 3 or 6 months ago or 4 months ago. Everybody was against it. I gathered the staff in the university and I said, look, we shouldn't be against it at all. We should use it to the benefit of us. It's a new tools and it's a new learning curve. We should use it to the benefit of us. And it should be part of, it's like a pen. You should use it as a pen. And this is where I gathered everyone into a brainstorming sessions. And we created a strategy how to use the AI into our teaching. And it becomes, rather than fighting the AI and rather than delaying it, we increase our productivity with this. And that gives me the overall employee moral and engagement. From here, we move into the second one. As a manager, as a CEO, is a very, very important to really understand employees' morale. And this is very important. Without understanding employees' morale, it's not easy to make him perform and become effective. I come from the engineering. I come from electromechanical engineering. I studied in the US. And then I did my dual degree in business as I was doing the engineering, because I'm always interested in business. And then I did my MBA and so on and so forth. Now, when you are in engineering, you really don't look so much into the human side of the employees. You only look into the numbers, you look into the circuit, you look into how to do things, whether it's a thermodynamic, whether it is a mechanical, whether it's a static, whether it is electricals, and so on and so forth, whether it's a civil. You look into basically how to build things up. They don't teach you in the university how to really deal with employees. I don't recall in any engineering school they teach you anything about the human side of the employees. But when you go to work, you will find yourself that you will use probably 20% of the engineering, and 80% is basically about the human, about employees, about productivity, about moral, about engagement, about KPIs, about effective performance. where you have not studied all of them, but you're the head of the department and what to do. So that's why you need to really understand employees' morale, employees' confidence, employees, they go into mood swings, whether it's a female, whether it's a male employee. We do come from a different background. We come from different culture. You come to the UAE. I'm not sure about your country where you asked, where you at. You come to the UAE. It's everybody. Most of everybody is fasting, and this is the culture. So for you as a head of engineering, you really need to learn how to work with these employees who are really fasting and they have a low sugar in their brain, how to motivate them. And you say, well, really, I really didn't learn much about this in the university. And that's where you have to look into it. I'll give you a small example. For a few minutes. I started my work in Saudi Arabia in Prince Sultan Air Base. And then I worked there in the air base for 7 years as an engineer and as a project manager in business. Then I was headhunted by Emirates Airline. I moved into Emirates Airline. They put me in Emirates Airline in one of their subsidiaries in the projects and so on and so forth. I'll give you a small example. Emirates Airline in 2004, 2003, they decided, because most of their employees, they were Filipinos and they were Indian. And when they are on Emirates flight catering, they do prepare the meal to go to the flight. We had about 250 flights a day. So what happened? They said, let's use the Chinese. Let's get the Chinese females. Most of the Chinese at the age of 20, they are university graduate. They graduate from the university, but they lack the sense of English. They lack English education. So what they do is they want to go somewhere and practice their English and go back to China. So Emirates Airline decided to take about 300 female to bring them into Dubai and to really put them in Emirates flight catering to start working into your conveyor belts and start working. But in 2004, somewhere around 2000, in the mid of 2004, Chinese females didn't come to work. And when they did not come to work, they really stopped all of the production. And what happened is, just to make the story short, the Chinese, they had a Chinese New Year, and they are very much into their culture and tradition. So they ended up being a young Chinese female. They ended up taking off on their own. Now, as a manager, should have known that these Chinese, they have a Chinese New Year. So he should have been educated about the culture and the tradition of the employee. And this is where the moral sits, where the employee's moral become boosted when you understand him, when you learn his culture, when you learn more than an employee on your shop floor. This is very, very important. And we ended up in 2000, you can look it up in Google, we ended up delaying almost 300 flights. And that day, look how much money did Emirates Airline lose, Emirates Airport lost, is just by a small ignorance of a manager that did not understand the culture of the employees and ended up in 200 or 300 female being absent from job and not being able to produce meals on time, and subsequently delaying the takeoff of the flight, and subsequently not being able to land the flights, and so on and so forth. We lost about million of dollars at that time. And that's because the manager did not understand the culture, the tradition, the background of the employee, and that resulted in a low moral of the employee. So this is why I wanted to bring the story. The story is long. When I discuss it in the operation, it takes me almost 2 to 3 hours, because I lived it for a few days by that time. So it takes me about 3-4 hours. People, they write about this as case studies and so on and so forth. Some of them, they write dissertation about employees' moral and how to boost employees' moral. At the end of the day, it is your responsibility as a manager to understand the culture, the tradition, and to boost the employees' moral. And this is we will look at the factor, and this is where we looked at the factors where we have to look into employees' emotional intelligence, look into balance, life and family, to listen, to be more empathetic and less sympathetic. You don't want someone to cry with you. You need someone to understand you better. You need someone to empathize with you, listen to you, and really understand you, and look out of the box to assist you in solving your issues. And those are the factors that really affect employees' moral. What other than this can affect employees' morals? And that will come to be the job, will be satisfied the job, and provide opportunities for work-life balance. And we create a work culture, listening work culture, balancing work culture. We create a friendly workplace where everybody's happy. This is very, very important. Look at you when you are happy, when you go home and listen to a story or listen to a joke. When you become happy, your adrenaline level, it goes up. It's exactly like eating chocolate. I'm not sure if you do eat chocolate. And the adrenaline comes down, you become more energetic, and I'm very sure you can move a mountain at that time. And this is a very, very important, and that comes by understanding employees' moral. It is very, very important. Also, employees' moral is very important for a number of reasons. For productivity, to increase the productivity. And I tell you from Emirates Airline, when we go into product to push the airlines, to look into flight catering, to push the meal, to create the meals, when the employees are really, they have a low moral, the productivity goes down. And we don't meet our target, and this will decrease us from being the best, and really will end up in employee are being unhappy. And it's all in your hand as a project manager, as a future manager, and as a future CEO. This is all in your hand. You know, I wish I can draw something. But I can do here. Hold on, I can do here. I wish I can next time. If you look into, I don't think I can. Technical, and this is management. And this is, look, this is the technical part. When you are a first level employee, you have almost 90% technical and 5% management. But when you become on the top, you have this engineer after 10 years from being an engineer, and he goes to the top to be a CEO. If you look in here, 95% is management. In only small part is technical. This is a very, very, very important for you to know. Extremely important for you to know that when you become a manager, and you walk up and elevate yourself, your technical part becomes very limited, but your management becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You need to learn how to do financial resources, financial management, employees, build a KPI, strategies, look into employees' performance, looking into employees' morale, into employees' engagement, looking into the productivity, looking into the market share, looking into a lot of things. Engineering is a small part of management, is not really much. And as a matter of fact, if you look into it, it's all about business. It's all about management. It's all about understanding employees. And this is a very, very important to look into this. Turnover. If you look into this revolving door, you look into the revolving door, look at this door, how people, they really come and go. It's they use your company as a learning revolving door. They come 6 months, they come 2 years, they use your name, and then boom, they look for another job and they jump. And this gives you a poor employee's morale. And that can lead to an increase in turnover. When you don't understand employees' morale, when you don't engage them, they become unhappy. And when they become unhappy, they become low performer. And when they become low performer, then your productivity goes down. And when your productivity comes down, effectiveness of the company's success, it becomes less, and then you lose share market. You don't become the competitor anymore. Yes, you do the same thing as others do. You produce the same item, but that doesn't mean you are a competitor. You are a competitor only by your employees. You are competitor by innovating by your employees being very innovative. That's how you are a competitive. And you stay ahead of the game. And this is a very important, that when you really have a turnover, that's mean poor employees morale. Employees are not being happy. Employees are not being satisfied. And when employees are not happy and not satisfied, they end up in low customer satisfaction. And when you have a low customer satisfaction, customers, they go somewhere else. I sometimes drive 20 minutes extra or 30 minutes extra to go to a restaurant that I really like. And that customer is happy, and that employees are happy with me. And they smile. I have plenty of restaurants next door, but I don't feel so happy with them because employees are, the moral of the employees are not too high. So I go to that, I do pay extra just to be happy, just to enjoy the meal. And the meal is the same. I mean, when you buy whatever you buy, could be the same taste, but it's a different atmosphere. So this is a very, very important for you to really understand employees' moral. Is very, very important. I cannot stress more. Also, understanding employees' moral will lead to more collaborative effort. As I started earlier, is employees, they come as individuals from home. But when they walk into the company, they really become a part of the team. And when they become a part of the team, they need to collaborate. And that brings collaboration comes from high employees' moral that can foster a really collaborative environment. And this is where we start building towers. This is where we start building success together. This is a very, very, very important. And that leads into creativity. When you understand morals of your employees, employees becomes more creative. And when they becomes more creative, it will increase the productivity of your company, and you become more, it impacts on the innovation. You will become innovative. and you come it's not easy. You make it difficult for the others to copy your competitive advantage. Competitive advantage is very important to company. You need to understand what is your competitive advantage, what is your strength, what makes you strong, what makes you difficult to be copied. This is a very, very important, and this is a part of the strategy. It's not how to do it in whatever it is. It's how to do it effectively, efficiently, that really will outperform everyone in the market. And this is where, when employees are invested in their work, they feel sense of purpose, that I really mean, that I really belong, that people respect me, that people needs me, that I really need the job, that I'm really learning from this job. And they will be more likely to generate more ideas and more ideas how to do things. And that can help into organization really grow into better and increased performance. From here, I move into strategies. And let's take a few minutes. Hold on, I think I have about 40 minutes left. Let's let's put few minutes discussing the strategy before we go into discussion of the main subject. You have a vision as an owner, as an entrepreneur. He will hire you as a CEO or as a head of department or as a general manager, and he will tell you, look, I want to get to my vision. This is where I want to be. This is where I am. This is where I want to be. And he hires you. The first thing you do is you put a strategy together. So what does a strategy mean? It's a roadmap that takes the company from this position into this position. You need to put together a roadmap. And without a roadmap, you will not be able to take this company to the second level. That roadmap, we will call it a strategy. And this is the simplest way that I can define it to you. Now, what is the strategy? What is the roadmap for boosting employees' engagement? You know, how can I have a blueprint? How can I have a roadmap to boost employees' engagement? And that's exactly what we will be discussing at the moment. We will look to discuss a meaningful work. You know, what is the meaningful work? We will be defining employees and employee why it is matter. We will have a clear expectation, and we will look into the feedback and so on and so forth. Employees engagement, engaging employee, it is very, very important, and that's why it will have a clear expectation and gives a clear opportunity and feedback. It offers a tip to really improve employees' engagement. And then, such as setting a clear goal for the employee. This is a very, very important. And it takes it to really providing a regular feedback. That's where employee becomes more engaged. Employees, they will be happy to do work, but you as a CEO should really give a feedback to your employees. As a head of department, you should allow to really on a weekly basis, on a bi-weekly basis. When I am in the construction, when I do project in construction, we have something what's called bi-weekly meetings. So that's mean 2 weeks look ahead meeting. That's what we do. Every week we put a 2 weeks look ahead. And that's where we have clear expectation for everyone on the project, for everyone in the industry, for everyone within the organization. They have at least a 2 weeks target, and they go to work for it the first week, and then at the end of the week, we will come to say and to look, did we perform? Did we achieve? It's exactly like me every day. I sit at the end of the day and say, did I achieve it? Did I achieve what I wanted as a target? And if I did not, then I move it to the second day. I move things to the second day. And then I keep, I keep crossing things out. And this is exactly what I do as a strategy for me, as a roadmap of things. Employees' engagement refer to the level of commitment. Employees becomes very committed. They really come on time, and sometimes they come before. And look at this, look at the photo. Employees, when they are engaged, they become committed. And when they become committed, they take ownership of that particular item. It's exactly, I will tell you what does it mean. It's exactly like your wallet. It's exactly like your ID. It's exactly like your credit card. You hide it, you put it, you take more ownership. So this is a very, very important. Your credit card, you take more fist iron ownership. This is how it is when employees are, engaged. They become more ownership into the subject, and that gives an involvement. They become more enthusiastic, more happy, and that will result into organization meet their goals, because every organization, they have goal to exist. In order for them to really reach their goal, there should be a mission, there should be a roadmap how to get there, and this is they will meet the mission, and this is how committed they will become in contributing into organizational success. Because at the end of the day, it is the success of the organization. It will turn into a success. And from here, we move into employees' engagement is very important for a number of reasons, and that's why it matters. That's why it matters, and these are a few reasons why employees really productivity. If you look into productivities, engaged employees tend to really be more productive, tend to really move quickly with happiness when they are moved, because they want to be rewarded. They want to achieve a target. If you don't put a target for them, and if you don't engage them, they will never run to the target. And this is a very, very important to really engage employee, to put a target for the employee. Don't put a target that employee cannot reach. Employees should be consulted to the target, should have the buy-in, should have the commitment to say, yes, within 6 months, I'll be there. And this is when they will run forward. If employees, they know ahead of time that they will never reach the target, and the target is so high, they will never be committed, and they will never try. Because he knows how hard he will try, it's going to fail. So that is why we need to build a smart target where it is, it's a smart target is very important. It should be measurable, and it should be achievable. Not only measurable, it should be achievable. This is a very, very, and if it's not achieved, you as a manager is part of the failure. Not employee is a part of the failure. Is the manager is a part of the failure. So this is a very important to look into engagement from a productivity point of view. And then goes into the retention, retaining the employee. It is very, very important to retain the employee, to engage the employee more. They will be likely to stay in the organization for a long period of time. And then when they are in a long period of time, they become more detailed in the job. And then you keep your expertise within the company. You don't have expertise. University doesn't give expertise. University, they give a 4-year degrees. University, they give you 5 years or 6 years degree with an MBA. University gives you a 10-year degree with a PhD and so on and so forth. Expertise comes from work. Expertise comes from a good mentor. Someone who is really a mentor for you. And you need to, and once you have a good mentor, you work engaged, you are consulted, then and expertise build up. And then you become more expert. And as you go, you become more and more and more expert. And when you become more expert, your value goes up and up and up. Then companies, they know you by name. They know you by name. And the name becomes shining in the star, in the market. They say, look, headhunters, they will come after you. Why? Because companies, they want to pay top dollars for the expert, not for the degree. If you look into Michael Schumacher, and me, we have the same driver license. We have the same driver license. Not much of difference in the driver license. But for sure, Michael Schumacher knows how to drive the car better than I drive it. That comes from expertise. It doesn't come from a degree. It comes from expertise. And being expert in employees' engagement, engaging employees, that's mean when you outperform others in the organization and in the market. And this is where employees, they become retained more, and it will last more time. And then one of the strategy to boost employees' engagement, why? What is the reason? Is customer service. Look at me. I am here giving you a webinar, but at the end of the day, I need to please you with my information. I have to be effective. I have to be straight to the point. I cannot just sit down and read out of the screen and you could have done it by listening or by reading a book or by going somewhere else and read something. And this is the ultimate goal for me, is you become satisfied with the information that I give you. And by this, I become more competitive, and my competitive advantage becomes more higher. And this is where the share market, my mind becomes more effective. And this is very important to be a customer-oriented person. And that's why strategy for boosting employees' engagement is very important. It will result into a customer service, and the customers become very happy. And this is where you have a loyalty, and you have a loyal customer. And when you have a loyal customer, that's it. This is the name of the game. This is what we want, is a loyal customer. Is exactly like you. I would like to teach you better. I would like to perform better. So I will have more and more webinars and discussing what is my expertise and how can I take my expertise and give it to you in a 1.5 and 2 hours and 2 hours discussion webinar. And that is my great pleasure. And that takes me to the second one, which is the next, which is employees' engagement will lead into innovation. People become innovative. It's exactly the day we do things. And I'm very sure you have been in innovation one day or another. I am very sure you have been innovated. There is no way you can sit in this webinar and you are not innovated. You are innovated from the mindset you are thinking to study. You have decided to go out of the box and to really go into a global education in order to really get the best education that you can. And that by itself, it's an innovation, being innovative. You could have gone to a small room in your neighborhood and just got the expertise of what you can get from that area. But you decided to go online, to utilize your best effort and really go into a global service and become innovative in your way of really education. So you are creative. With all means, I find you creative. You may not see it yourself, but from my expertise, can see that you are creative. And this creativity takes you to really understand and to put a strategy that you will be a CEO one day, and to engage the employees and the subordinate that you have. This is a very, very important. It's exactly like me. When I talk to you, my left eye is on a number of the participant. It goes from 200 to 300 to 400, and now I can see 253 to 52. For me, it is more than joy to listen and to see people are really a participant in my webinar. That's more than anything else. And that is where I become innovative in my mindset, innovative in my teaching, and you will be the same, and you will be engaged, and so on. So overall, employees' engagement, it is very important to really, and it can impact on many different aspects in an organization by fostering, by nurturing a high level of engagement, an engaged employee. This is a very, very important. And as I told you before, don't sit down with your employees to brainstorm without preparing. Sit by yourself as a manager, as a CEO, do your homework, prepare for the meeting, prepare the target that you want, do everything, think ahead, and then sit down with your team and engage the team. Don't deliver to them and say, this is the plan and we need to think how to do it. No, go into discussion, engage them, listen to their ideas, listen to what do they want to say. They are the expert when it comes to implementation. You are the expert when it comes to drafting, to put together a strategy. Yes, you are the best to put a strategy together. But when it comes to implementation, they are the expert. And that's why you want them to be engaged, to better perform and to increase the performance of the management or the company. So this is a very, very, very important. And that where becomes a performance management. Your company becomes a performance management. And this is where you manage by performance, by looking into improve, by putting scope, by coming up to the balanced scorecard, by putting KPIs, by putting time and objective, by putting things in when you are going to, by ticking the box. This is a very, very, very important. You evaluate. You look into providing a regular feedback. Regular feedback is very important. Look at you. When you drive a car, I'm very sure most of you are a driver. When you drive a car, at your car, you have two mirrors. One is left and one is right. And you have one in the middle of your dashboard, and in the middle of your screen, and window shield. And as you drive, you really look back and forth. You look to the left, you look to the right, and you look into the mirror and you drive. Why? Because you want to get a feedback of what you have finished. Is anybody's coming at you? Who's on the left? And those are performance indicators. It indicates your performance. It tells you how you are performing. And this is a very, very important, looking at it from a performance indicating point of view. We look into the importance of performing management. Why do I really want to be a performing manager? Why do I really want to perform? As a manager, I have been paid not to show up only. I have been paid to perform. It's exactly by being in this webinar. I have not been paid to just sit and look at the camera. I have been paid to really perform very well. This is what is my job. And that's why improving performance Performance management can help to identify areas of employees where they need an additional training. You have an employees, you have 10, 20, you have 50 employees. You are trusted on them. You are at the beginning, what we said, well-being of your employees. You look after the well-being of the employees from a health point of view, from a mental health point of view, from educational point of view, from family point of view, from everything point of view. Employee is not only a number, is not only a person walks in and out the organization. No, employee is an asset. And this is where you go in to really assess, identify what are the training need analysis you need to conduct. You need to support, provide a support. People comes unhappy to the work. When you say good morning, when you say good morning with a passion to your employees will be driven to be passionate with you. It's exactly like I talk to you. When I talk to you with passion, when I talk to you with energy, you would be listening. If I talk to you with low energy, with a non-interest or passion, you will be distracted by not being focused, not being really pulled into the subject. And that is very important for you when you become a CEO, when you become a manager. You have to drive the passion of the employee, to support them, to greet them, to really with love, and to look into the job to be effectively done. It is very, very important. From here, we go into look into aligning the goal. Goal alignment is always very important. 5 years ago, when we put a goal to ourselves, it was good. COVID came in. What happened? We realigned our goals. There are some new priorities came into our life. There are a new mindset graduated out of the COVID period. And that is why, as an organization, you always need to align your goal. You align your goal to the market needs. You align your goal to the competitive advantage that you have. You align your goal to the competitor that are in the market who is going to outperform you. Nobody is sitting in a charity. Nobody is performing in a charity mindset organization. That will be a non-profit organization. That will be, if you want to work for a charity, you go to a non-profit organization, and that's it. You don't need to really do much. You just spend, and nobody would really is there but to really smile at you because you're giving. But being at a profit organization, an organization that puts and perform for a profit, that's mean you have a goal. That's mean you have an objective. And that's mean you always needs to align yourself to the goal and to the market needs. This is very, very important. Employees, they have goals that has to be funneled into the goal of the department. They cannot, employees in department, they cannot have two separate different direction goals. Otherwise, I would have two horses pulling a cart in a two different direction. We will go nowhere. It is very, very important to align the employee's goal into the department goal, into the organizational goal, and finally go into the mission of the company. That becomes a strategy. And that's why we need to align our goals. I am very sure after this webinar, many of you will really need to align your goals and so on and so forth. Let me speed up a little bit. We go to enhanced communication. We need to really enhance our communication. By enhancing our communication, we really involve a regular manager communication between employees, and managers. This is very, very important. Communication is everything. Communication is everything when it comes to work. Without communication, you will never be able to perform. You will never be able, without communication, I will never be able to give you my peace of mind. I am being able to give you my peace of mind and expertise and education through my communication. And the better I communicate, the better you understand me. And when the better you understand me, is the better you are going to believe in what I say and go to outperform, and you will shine as a star. And that's through communication. And this is very, very important to really not to, you really need to put efforts into how to speak, how to really fit, because I am communicating with my tie, I'm communicating. With the way I dress, I'm communicating. Can you imagine being a professor coming in with a t-shirt trying to teach you? Would you take me that serious? So part of my communication is the way we dress, is the way I dress, is the way I look, is the way I am. That's a part of communication. Being smart, being intelligent, communicating to the level of what is required. It is very important. The way you speak, the way you use terminology. And that's why in PhD, and that's why in the MBA, we teach you sometimes some of the terminology. You need to learn it in order for you to be able to communicate effectively. This is a very important. And that leads to identify as a manager a development opportunity for your employees. Is a very, very important. It's very important that when you become a manager is to look at the skills of your employees and to think, how can I develop them? How can I make them better? This is a very, very important. I will give you an example. A few days back, the president in the university, he called the dean. And he said, look, you are going to be with us 2 days a week. But there are 3 days where you will not be with us. I want you to choose. We have 3 program directors. I want you to choose one to be your deputy. So we went to think and so on and so forth. I came up with an idea. You know what I said? I said, let's engage the 3 program directors and let's give everyone his specialty. We have one doctor who is detail-oriented. I said, okay, you will be the review of the document, the signature, because you have a detail-oriented. The second one, who is good in communication, he is good in policies and procedure. I said, you will be the deputy in meetings. And the third one, I said, you will be the student services. And that we engaged the 3 program directors, and everybody is being participant, and boom, we have a success. And that is exactly what you need to do. Look for ways to develop opportunities to your employees so they can really outperform others and so on and so forth. And at the end of the day, you really need to reward them. Employees who are innovative, employees who are committed, employees who are really engaged with high morals. What else? You are gaining success. Why shouldn't I gain success? So one of the first things Ms. Nair said in the beginning of the webinar, she said, I wrote it down, certificate will be given to all participants. That is motivation and reward for you to stay in the webinar. That is by rewarding. You go out of the webinar, you sign out, we will not give you a certificate of participation. You see, that's a rewarding. Yes, it may, but you as a manager You should be able to reward your employees. You cannot always sometimes reward your employees with money, and money is not everything to employees. Some of you may differ. It depends on your background and say, no, mine is reward is money. No, for me, my reward is not the money. My reward is to engage, is to develop a human mind, is to really be rewarded with people effectively going to work and use my name and become a mentor for them, where I can guide them better to perform better. And this is where my satisfaction comes in as an educator. And that's where I really reward myself, by being an educator. People, they love what they can do. And for me, I love what I do. I love being an educator, as well as I love to be a project manager. But at the end of the day, I like to see my product. And that is the reward, by recognizing the performance and really look into providing a basis of rewarding to the achievement that we do, and so on and so forth. Within, I think we're almost in conclusion, it is very important that employees' moral is very important. Employees' moral is very important. Confidence, the moral, well-being of the employees, and also the engagement of the employees are very important when it comes to organizational success. You will never to outperform anyone and to become a success with a huge number of employees who are unengaged and morally not happy. With this, we come to an end. I would like to thank you for being participant. I can see that we have 362. I'm more than happy to see this number. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to really be with you. I wish I can see and I can get to know you better. And with this, we come to an end, and we will open the discussion for Q&A. Go ahead, Ms. Nair.
Thank you, Dr. Ali, for that wonderful session. Very insightful thoughts on employee engagement and performance management. So we are getting a lot of reviews, you can see in our chat box, as well as we have some questions also waiting in our QA box. So I'll read some questions for you so that you can answer it. You can also check out in our QA box.
Sure. That will take me to put the summary up. So I don't to put the summary up. By that time, the student or the participant, I don't like to call you a student. You're a learner. You're a participant. I'm also a learner. I'm always learning is always continuous. Here are the points for the webinar that we have covered. Is employees' moral and engagement are really important to organizational success, because they impact directly on the productivity, on the retention, and also on customer service. And also they affect highly on innovation. That takes the moral is influential. We can influence the moral of the employees by factor of job satisfaction, where employees, they become satisfied. Work balance is very, very important, work-life balance. If you find someone who is staying in the company for more than 13 hours a day, 15 hours a day, sit down. Talk to him. Find out why he is putting 15 hours a day. His family needs him. Listen to him. Probably he needs a support. Probably he needs some help. Give him the support and the help he needs so he can balance his life with with his family. This is a very important. Employees' engagement influence the factor as meaningful work. Then the work becomes meaningful because I become engaged. Then it becomes a peace of my mind. It will improve the organization. Sets of goals becomes very clear. Performance management is very important to individual and also to organization, and improve and establish a clear performance to provide ongoing feedback within the organization. Very thank you for being part of this webinar. I think now
We'll move on to the questions.
Yes, go ahead.
We have a question from a participant. So he is mentioning the scenario where you mentioned as the CEO, so who has created motivation for the employees. So, but some of them don't still perform. What is to be done? Okay, as a CEO, you have created a motivation for your employees, but still some of them don't perform well. So, what is to be done in such cases?
Excellent question. Thank you for asking a question, which we do come across of these things on a yearly basis. First of all, you need to understand that when employees comes into organization, they come into organization by screening. You know, you have the HR, you have a job description, you have job specification, you have job roles, and so on and so forth. Company needs to have these in position in place. They have to have the job description, the positions, and everything. And as the employee, as we are hunting for employees, they need to fit these particular job description. And you do your best, you do your level best. And at the end of the day, if employees don't perform, you start giving them documentation. You start giving them performance management. And this is where the MBOs comes in, managing by objective. You create for them management by objective. You say, look, you put for them KPIs and you say, look, within 3 months, set goals for them and start to support them if they really need support, and try to do your best in order to employ management by objective, MBO. We call it MBO, and the result of this comes the KPIs. I wish I can write them somewhere. I wish in the future where we have a whiteboard and that I can write and say, because the MPOs, management objective, and part of it, I do have some examples. Part of it is we create KPIs for a period of time, and that will really engage the student, engage the participant, or engage the employees. Unless the employee is so much, so much negative that he is going to affect the rest of the team, then you have to tell your HR to start giving them warning, receive warning, and then do what you have to do as per the HR policies and procedure of your company. Do I have an exact ready-made answer? No, it has to go with a procedure of what to be done. But thank you. I'm really glad you had asked this question.
Do we have another question from Paul, where he is asking you what are the factors that can lead to high rate of retention?
Yes, thank you. That's another one. As we discussed in the webinar, retention, that's mean keeping the employee for a longer time with you. That's mean reward. You will never be able to keep the employee without rewarding him. Sometimes can be a financial reward. Sometimes can be a training need analysis to educate your employee more and more, provide more training to the employee, provide more feedback to the employee. When you meet the employees, they become part of you. Most of us, we spend more time with employees and subordinate more than we spend with our families. And this is a part of you being giving them feedback. It hires their attention. You need to be communicator, and you need to be effective communicator. We also are a human. We have problems we bring from home as a CEO. But when you go to work, you have to find your peace of mind. You have to sit for a few minutes. You have to write your goals. You have to do your own prayer. You have to connect somewhere, somehow, with a relaxed mindset. You cannot take your anger on your employees. They are not there to take your angers. They are there to take your positive and your motivation. So you have to always separate, make this wall of separation between you and your anger, your mood, and really to look into the performance, look into the feedback, communicate positively with them, set target, and reward them. Sometimes it's a financial reward, sometimes is a non-financial reward, is very intellectual reward. And this is very, very important, that keeps the employee longer. Are we able to keep the employees 100%? No, it's no way. Even if you glue his shoes or foot in the office, no way. But by you implementing these things, you will outperform other companies.
Okay. We have one more question. We have a lot of questions coming up.
Oh, with pleasure. With pleasure. Yeah. With a pleasure.
So,
and I hope you're getting some satisfaction out of this answer. Please communicate, tell us, let us know.
Yeah. We have a question from Micah. As a worker, do you have to mandate to ask your boss that you need motivation? That is when, after realizing that one of the factors for less production is lack of motivation. So Micah is asking whether we need to go and ask our boss.
Look, it's really, the one who's asking this question is a passionate person. I must say, this person is a passionate. And being passionate is creating two ways direction of communication. And that's an excellent way of putting things together. Yes, we are a human. And yes, sometimes we lack a motivation. And it is not wrong at all not wrong to go and walk into your boss and say, look, and tell them about your personality. Say, look, I'm an individual who perform well when it comes to motivation. And I would like others to really reward me by communication, by positively giving me motivation, by sitting with me, by giving me a feedback. And I do with my son. I have 3 children. One of my son, really, he likes to be reassured. I don't tell him anything wrong. And I call him most of the time to reassure him, to tell him that you're doing a great job, to say, look, you are excellent, and it doesn't matter if you fail or you pass. I will still love you exactly, and I would love you more. And that's exactly very, and thank you, Micah, for asking this question. That tells me how much passionate you are. And you have, I must say, your boss is very lucky to have you.
That's a wonderful answer. So we have a very interesting question from Safa Haji. What can we do to make the job very interesting?
Yes, thank you, Safa. I don't know if I pronounce your name correctly, Safa. Thank you for asking this. Yes, jobs, look, you need to look out of the box. You always need to look out of the box to do your job. You need to learn more, not learn more in a hard way. Learn way in an easy way. Many of us, we have been in a way or another in a position that we don't like, but probably we like the money. Probably we like something else. Probably I did not find a better job to move from my own job. So how can I make my own job interesting? Is you by being positive, by investing in your own mind. I will give you an example. I will give you an example. Probably it's not the exact, but I will give you one example. I was in Saudi Arabia working for Prince Sultan Air Base, and I went into a partner relationship with one of my classmates to build a building. So I did build the building, and at the end of the day, I overpaid my partner $10,000. When I went to really collect the money and sit with him to really look into the subject, I noticed that I overpaid him. I said, "Look, I overpaid you." He said, "Yeah, you overpaid me, but you cannot take the money without a power. So that's mean you need to go and sue me." He was my friend. So I was very puzzled. I didn't know what to do. I went to my home. My home is next to his house. And I started thinking. Finally, I said, okay, he took the $10,000 from me. But everything has a value, untangible, intangible. He took the tangible part of the money. The untangible part of the money is still with me. He will never be able to take it. So for you, you need to find the intangible part of your job to really add into that and to become more positive of what you do. There must always be something positive within your job. Being committed, being coming on time, going on time, being perform better, outperform others, that is more than rewarding and becoming more interested to do them. Don't be like a lake, become like a river. You know what's the difference between a lake and a river? River is always fresh. When we take you to eat next to the river, you will enjoy it. The taste of the food becomes way much better. But when I take you next to the lake to eat, you enjoy the water. You enjoy the scenery, but you don't enjoy the water, then please step into the river every day you go to work.
We have another question from Patterson Abraham. So he is asking, in the private sector, it is important that we maintain competitive advantage.
Yes.
In the public sector, we offer service that cannot be found elsewhere. What should drive a manager to boost employees' morale?
Yes, this is a very, very, very important subject. You are absolutely correct. It's when you are in the public sector, it's not easy. Private sector, yes, we are driven by objective, we are driven by performance, we are driven by success, we're driven by all of these. But when you are in the public sector, it's like you are sitting in a bus. You have a driver, you're in the back of the bus, and whatever it is, you sleep, you wake up, you don't wake up, you're in the back of the bus. Look, as a human, as an intellectual, as a really performing person, you should never accept not to really engage and not really to educate yourself. And the minute you become unperformed and you settle down to what you have, the minute you mentally will decline and decline and decline, regardless if you are in a public sector or a private sector. Your brain is a gift of God. You cannot let it go. You cannot let it sit idle. It is, you are entrusted on your brain is exactly like a child. When you have a child, you cannot say, I'm in the public sector, I will not take care of my child because I'm in the public sector. Your brain is like your children. You must take care of your brain. You must invest in your brain to be more educated. Who knows? Who knows COVID would come? We never knew COVID would come. Public sector will never be there for us. Do you know within 15 years to 20 years from now, our money will have expiry date? Do you know that the money will have an expiry date? And when the money has an expiry date, what we will do? Public sector will not be public sector anymore. Most of companies becoming, most of a public sector become subsidized, becomes a private sector now. Why? Because life is changing. And that's why you need to invest into your mind more than anything in the public sector. In the private sector, it's easy. People, they push you. But in the public sector, you need to push yourself. Public sector will never push you. They will push you out, but they will not push you intellectually. So this is your, thank you for asking the question. Thank you very much.
We have another question from Eugene Prince. He is asking, are there instances where there are biases in performance management? And if so, how can organization ensure that their performance management processes are fair and objective? And what are some of the best practices for avoiding bias and discrimination?
Really, I'm amazed with all these intelligent questions. You guys have a very good student. I must tell you, you guys have a very good student. You're lucky.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look, yes, there is no way we can walk into an organization with no biases. No way at all. And that's where policies and procedures comes into a practice. Policies, procedures, business ethics comes into a place. And can we eliminate it 100% being biased? No way. No way we can eliminate. But by implementing policies and procedure, by putting the correct governors into the quality system, excellent system within the organization, that will reduce the level of bias, but it will never delete it. It will never take it away. Thank you.
We have another question from Andrew. How best could you lead and serve your colleagues when you're in a team, as a team leader in a marketing department, but there is some resistance due to age gap?
Yes, really, honestly, I was driving today. Today I was driving, I'm not sure if you know Dubai. In Dubai, we have about, during the construction, we had too many shipping container, being industrial shipping container, ended up in Dubai with no use. So the desert was full of them. And I am asked to give a lecture, international lecture, to some architect in use of industry. So we have in Dubai is called box park, where they use shipping container and they make it as a restaurant. They make it. I wish I can share with you. You can Google it. Box park. Where they build with them units and they become like villas, they become like houses. So I went over there, and as I was making the video and filming, on my way back, I said, what will happen to the old generation like me in 10 years from now or 5 years from now, being managed by the young generation? What will happen? I must accept it. I must make the way, and we must educate our the Z generation to really manage us. It is very important. Thank you for asking this question 100 times. Thank you. It is very important to create a training session to the new generation of how to manage us, because we are not going to be in power for the rest of our life. So it is our responsibility as education, as university, to educate the new graduate how to really manage the old timers. This is very, very important. And with the training, with acceptance, then we can be a more team. Thank you for asking this. And this is something I was thinking about today. I will have to write it down, this one.
We have one question from Hilary. He is asking, how can we boost intrinsic motivation and improve our loving what we do? How to boost the intrinsic motivation and the love for what we do?
Look, intrinsic, extrinsic, and all of these things, we study them very well. You really need to invest in yourself from a mindset, from a positive point of view, and look for ways that pleases you. Look for happiness outside the work. Look for something to make you happy, and that will bring it to your work. I hope I can answer this question this way. That's the way I do. Really, the way I do it for me is that's what I do. I'm engaged with some things where I go outside the work. I take a 1 day off in the weekend. I sit with a lot of people's. I sit mainly Friday night with a good group of our community. We sit down and eat. We are a small community in Dubai. We eat and we talk. We talk intellectually. We joke. We make happy occasions. And from there, I take it to work and I become more and more happy. You need to look for a social life.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank
We
you.
have one question from Christina. First of all, she is thanking you for the very insightful session.
Most welcome.
And she would love to hear more explanation on one of your
According
points.
to Writing Tips Institute.
Sorry, go ahead, repeat again, because the phone when
Worry about it.
the phone now, it's just, AI is everywhere. When they hear something, they grab. Google grabs and start answering.
Yeah. So Christina is asking, where you stated about the don't waste time brainstorming with your employees. So her question is, won't the employees feel their opinions don't matter in decisions that can improve the company? And also, will it not stop them from sharing great ideas that is beneficial to the company?
Yes, I agree with you. Look, we as employees are full of data. Every day new data comes in and so on and so forth. And this. Always try to engage your employees. You need to keep your employees engaged. And when you keep them engaged, then they will voluntarily give data. They will never hold back data. Unless there is a fear with the employees, then they will stop giving data. And I have experience in one of them. We do have one employee that he is in fear of his position, that he's in fear of what it is going on. And something, this is due to his management, by the way. It's not due to the employee when he holds back data. Employee, they love, by nature, we love to give data, by nature. And if we don't give data, that is the problem of the manager, because he puts a fear somehow into the position of the employee, and he's withholding data so he can stay longer in the company. I hope I did answer your question if I understood it correctly.
So we have one question regarding the communication. Okay. So the learner is asking, what can we do if there is no communication with my manager, such that orders are given but no reports after completing the order?
Yeah, that's an issue. That's really an issue, because sometimes you have a manager who don't like to communicate a lot. Look, you need to create communication. You need to be positive. I have been put in this situation before. My manager was not a communicative at all. So it was not easy. It was difficult. I was there for 4 years. I tried my best. And then what's the name of the lady who asked the question?
It's Kajaras.
Kateras.
Yeah.
Kateras, I am very sure you know Evian water. I am very sure you know Evian water. You know what's Evian water, or distilled water, or Perrier water? If you and me, we go to the grocery store to buy the Perrier, it's 5 dirhams or $1. The same Perrier, if we go to 5-star hotel to buy it and to drink it, it may cost us about $50. There is nothing wrong with the Perrier. There is something wrong with the location of the bottle of water. You need to change the location, otherwise he will kill you. It's exactly like the bottle of the water. You buy it from the grocery store, it's a $1. You go to the restaurant, it will be $50. You need to change the location.
We are getting a lot of questions, but the time is running
Oh,
Uh,
look, I
we
can
have,
give you additional time with a pleasure.
we'll have a couple of questions and then we'll wind up, Doctor. So we have one question from Parnishita. She's asking, I am in a team where my manager would ask for our feedback very often. I
Mm.
like this idea of this as it motivates me to work and perform better. But my colleagues would find it annoying. How would you boost their morale as to encourage them to participate in the feedback session?
Yes, you are correct. This happens. Yes, it does happen. And some of the employees, they think that you are kissing up to the manager and the manager is really like you or whatever it is, or biased. Try to create a positive teamwork between you and your employees, in your team member, and to try to support them. It's exactly when you want to engage someone to taste your food. Try to let them see what is the best benefit they can get out of it. Try to educate them. Say, look, come with me. Sit with me and see what is the feedback will do to me. This is a very engage them with you. They don't have to be engaged with your manager. Let them be with you at the time of the feedback, and show them how rewarding it will be, so they will be engaged and they do the same. But don't stop. For you, don't stop giving feedback because others they don't wish to do. Don't stop.
We have a question from Omar. As
Omar.
a manager, what is the best thing to do when one team member fails to perform after a series of counseling and his behavior affects the entire team negatively in many ways?
Look, there is a one training, they call it trust training. You know, there is a one training, they create trust training of the people. They stand on a chair and they have to really fall back. You need to go into a physical training where that person one day needs to fall back and trust the rest of the team. So he will know, without physical training, he will never come to you into his senses. And that's why in the hotel, that's why in the project, we do this training. We bring a group of people, the team, and this is the first thing I do when because I have a project and we move from one project to one project, and we always have a new employees. And to create for me a trustworthy employees, I create this training. I will put everyone on a chair and they have to fall back. And all of us, we need to hold him or hold her. And this is physically where they come to their senses and say, without them being there, I would have died. And this is exactly what's a team effort. Team effort is he has to go through this in order to overcome his negativity. Otherwise, he will sink in his own ship. It's not easy. It's not easy, Omar. I understand it. I've been there many times.
We have another question. As an NGO, how can we boost morale of our volunteers, like non-financial rewards?
Oh, look, you give certification. Sometimes you give certification. You give employee, the best employee, the best idea, employee of the month, employee of the year. Always there is events. Always there create events. Create events out of nothing. In our organization, in the university where I teach, we create event on a bi-weekly basis, dinner, lunch, whatever. Create events and start making them noticed. Say he is the employee of the month, the employee of the week, the employee of so and so. The certificate. Do I always have financial reward? No. My financial reward is limited, but I do give letters, I do write emails, I do write a lot of things, I do propose, I do go to HR to create a positive certificate. We create a positive certificate from HR, a certificate of appreciation, all of this. It gives it a lot, you know. And when you decorate, and please, when you give the certificate, make sure that the certificate is decorated. Make sure their name is really elegantly written. Make sure that you have an occasion where he goes up and he has to walk, and many people, they have to wait. Many people have to clap. This gives it, this wash the brain and wash down the negativity of the people. It wash it down and positive stays in the head.
Okay, sir. Dr. Eli, we are having
Yes,
a lot of questions, but
please.
since our time is coming up, uh, I'll just stop the questionnaire session here and we'll move to my slide presentation on UniAthena. So I would like to share my screen. So welcome everyone to the UniAthena presentation. So as you all know, the UniAthena is established in 2019. It's an edutech company headquartered in UK. We offer various online academic and free learning short courses in a flexible way at an affordable cost. We have a lot of partnership with more than 10 universities, which we'll be showing you here. We have partnership with the different universities across the world. You can see UCAM, Alberta University, Galileo Marconi University, SQA, Acacia, Garena American University, Chartered Management Institute, and CIQ. So these are our various partnership universities from which we offer the different courses. We have classified our programs into academic programs, which include mainly the master courses, MBA courses, microcredit courses, and doctorate, as well as we have short courses which are free to learn. You just need to pay for the certificates. These include the basics, essential diploma, executive diploma, and MBA essentials. So our system is that we follow a flexible payment mode where you will be paying as per your progress in the course. And this is fully 100% online. Everything is delivered online. So we have recorded video materials, reading materials, everything available at the online platform. You just have to take your available time, go to it, explore it, and read at your own convenience. We are accredited to very good universities, and we also offer a personal tutor connect to assist you with your learning process. So our courses are designed in such a way that it is 100% online, and we offer the courses in a bite-sized delivery, but with the assistance of the personal tutor. Most of the lessons are recorded and provided as a video lectures, and video tutorials are available where our eminent faculties will be delivering the course. Then we have something called as essential reading, where you get a text and description of what is already taught in the video lessons. Then we have the additional references, which are actually journals that are linked to the courses. Okay, there are case studies that are available in our e-library. So any of our learner can go in depth to that course, explore more on that courses. So you can always check out different courses at www.uniathena.com. This is our website. Please check out at uniathena.com for our different courses. And for any admissions related, you can always contact our team, admissions teams, at admissions@uniathena.com or fatima@uniathena.com. So thank you everyone for being with us. And thank you, Dr. Ellie, once again
Thank
for
you.
being with
Thank
us
you.
and sharing this wonderful insights on employee management and performance management.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I look forward. I look forward to see you again.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.